Super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2538. Where was your family when they learned to swim? Yeah, that's something a little unusual. You probably didn't think about that. But learning to swim is one of those milestones that stays with us for a lifetime. For many families, it was a day filled with equal parts of excitement and nervousness. Whether it happened at the local swimming pool, a lake, a river, or a beach, taking those first strokes was a moment of courage. There were splashes, laughter, encouragement from the sidelines, and perhaps a few swallowed mouthfuls of water along the way. Yes, I remember those days. For some, a parent or a grandparent patiently taught them. Others learned from an older brother, sister, school teacher, swimming instructor, friend. However it happened, someone believed in them until they discovered they could do it on their own. Learning to swim was about much more than staying afloat. It brought confidence, independence, and opened the door to holidays, family outings, beach days, boating adventures, and countless happy memories in and around the water. It became another small step in growing up. These are the moments that rarely appear in official records, yet they tell us so much about the people in our family. The stories of scraped knees and first bike rides, first swimming lessons, and everyday achievements help bring our family history to life in ways that names and dates never can. Now, you may be able to find their names in swimming clubs. Maybe they belong to a swimming club or lifeguard. So you knew that they had to learn to swim at some point, but part of their story later on is that they became a lifeguard or that they belonged to a swimming club. So they were maybe in a lot of competitions and meets and all of that sort of stuff. So you can look up those records, see how good of a swimmer they were in races and competitions and things. Maybe even diving, if they were into diving. And then later on in years, you got scuba diving coming in and snorkeling and that sort of, well, scuba diving, I know you got to get a license for, or certifications for. I don't know about scuba. I don't know if you can do that, but actually scuba or snorkeling. Scuba, you have to get a certification, and snorkeling, I don't think you have to. What do I remember about first learning to swim? Well, there was times before I had formal swimming lessons that we would go to the beach, to lakes, to rivers, and one of our parents was always in the water with us, and kind of teaching us how to float and swim. But it wasn't until I was about 7 or 8, I think it was, that I took formal swimming lessons with my brothers. And we were in this learners. We were actually in the learners pool down at the local swimming pool places, the local swimming baths as we called them. And it got to the point where I was doing pretty good with the freestyle stroke. The only problem was that whenever I stroked, it went down. My hand was hitting the bottom of the pool, and I kept telling them, I says, I can't do this. I keep hitting the bottom of the pool. And so they eventually moved me over into the bigger pool where in the shallow end, I could barely stand on my tippy toes and be above water. But I started learning a lot more on the different strokes, the breaststroke, the butterfly, backstroke, and freestyle. And it was a 50-meter pool, I think it was. It was competition size. So we used to, and I remember doing it one day, going the full length, and Dad's walking beside me as we're going down, says, come on, you can do this, you can do this. And I took a couple of breaks along the way to get some air because I kept forgetting not to breathe. I wasn't breathing properly. So I stopped to grab some air, and then I'd carry and I'd hang on to the side of the pool. I had not learned to tread water at that point. I did not learn to tread water till years later. And even then, I still stayed close to the side of the pool where I could grab onto the side of the pool. It wasn't until many years later that I actually would be in the middle of a swimming pool where my feet didn't touch the bottom and tread water confidently. I was a late bloomer when it came to swimming. But I remember those swimming lessons that we would go to, and even got banned off my bike one night because my dad caught me. Dad's coming home on his he was a motorcycle cop. He's coming home on his motorcycle when I got him. I was on my bike. I had stopped at the end of our street, and I needed to go across this busy road so I could carry on to the swimming pool to take my lessons. And did not see my dad coming down the road. Got on my bike. I stopped there, saw a gap, pedaled like crazy for it, and didn't realize that there was a car a little closer than I thought it was. And he had to slow down in order for me to get across the road without hitting me. And the next thing I know is that Dad's next to me on his motorbike telling me he actually pulled me over. And I got a very stern talking to. and was told to carry on to my swimming lessons. But when I got home, the bike went in the shed and was getting locked up, I think, for like a week or something. I think it was a week. I wasn't allowed to ride my bike, which meant no swimming lessons for the rest of the week. And then carried on to the pools, had my swimming lesson, came home, and my bike got locked up and wasn't allowed to use it for a bit. So yes, my dad did pull me over. As a cop, he did pull me over. And he always told us kids that if he ever pulled us over, he would be tougher on us than he would be on a regular driver pulling over, because we should know better. Yeah, so my push bike was taken. I was like 8 at the time, 8 or 9. 9, I think I was, when I got the bike. And so I lost it. I lost privileges of my bike for a week. But anyway, I still got to swimming lessons. I could walk. It took a lot longer to walk, so I had to leave home a lot earlier to walk to my swimming lessons. I couldn't ride my bike to my swimming lessons. So it would take me about 10 to 15 minutes to bike there. And it would take me about 30 to 45 minutes to walk. Yeah. But in that town, we walked everywhere. We walked. If I wanted to go downtown and do some shopping, I walked. It was a 30-minute walk down there, but it was okay. We walked everywhere. That's one thing we had in New Zealand, is that we were great walkers, because we would walk everywhere. We wouldn't get in the car and just drive from one place to the next. If we went downtown in the car, we parked the car in one place, and then we walked everywhere around downtown area, and we'd go back to the car to drop off the shopping or whatever. But if we wanted to go down by ourselves, we walked. We were sent out walking. Off we'd go. Do our thing, come home. But yes, learning to swim was a fun adventure, and I do remember our days with that and some of the adventures that came from swimming. So my most frightening one would have been when we were living in Waitara, and I was with the youth group one day, and we all went down. We had a beach party with a youth group, and there's a little island just off the coast there and it had a swimming hole in it. And so we had to go across this little straight area, this little piece of water area, which at first it didn't look like it was that far until you got in the water and had to swim across over there. And we went across as a group, so we were encouraging each other and helping each other get across there. The only problem is that when you got across there, it was a hot day. The rocks were black, so they were hot and burning our feet. And then we got to the swimming hole, and we just basically, I didn't want to go swimming because it was too deep. And so I would sit on the edge of the water there, and just cool my feet off. And then when it was time to go back, we all hopped in the water to go back again. Yeah, fortunately, we weren't going when the tide was coming in or out, so we didn't have to worry about rip tides or anything like that as well. But that was kind of scary. It was one of the scariest swims I've ever done. But anyway, so your homework for today, because I got to get moving. Your homework for today is your challenge. Ask a family member about the day they learned to swim. Where did it happen? Who taught them? Were they confident or a little afraid? Do they remember the moment they realized they could swim on their own? And record this story today, because these everyday memories are often the ones that become the family treasures. And let us know in the comments below about some of the stories that you discover along the way. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. I'm off to get the mop chopped